So I haven't been back to my office and I haven't been able to hang out with a large group of people in a while. So this is truly exciting for me. So thank you so much for that. And now it's Sheila Wang reporting live from my kitchen. So hope that I'm going to make this 10 minutes fun, exciting, and maybe can give you some information that you'd be interested in. So today, during this 10-minute presentation, I thought about maybe deliver this presentation in 2 parts. But before we even get into that, I want to ask you guys a question. So who knows what the 5 W's are in journalism? Do you guys want to answer the question? You can raise the hand on the in the lower corner of the screen, or you can just holler.
I know.
Yeah, go ahead, Ingrid.
Where, when, and what? Or maybe
Yeah.
That's what it is.
5 W's. Yeah, I think you got most of it. The 5 W's in journalism is who, what, when, where, and why. And why sometimes optional, depends on what kind of story that is. So the 5 W's actually help journalists like myself to address the fundamental questions that every story should be able to answer. And also that should be the 5 elements as a reader, such as yourself, should be looking for in any story. So today, I'm going to talk about, in the 2 parts of my presentation, the first part is going to be the first W, which is who. And who, I mean me. So I'm going to talk about myself. And then the second part of the presentation, I'm going to talk about why. Why as in why in journalism. Oh, sorry, did I unmute myself? Can you guys hear myself? Yeah, okay, cool. So let's move on to the first part. I started here 2 years ago, so I am a new reporter in town. I'm also a newcomer in Canada. So my background can be a little bit interesting to you guys. I might be the first Chinese reporter who's ever been hired in Michelle's office. So I'm Chinese. I was born and raised in China. I grew up in a very small coastal city in North China. And by small, I mean about 3 million people, but that's relatively small. What I mean, that's honestly, that's just small in China. That's not considered big in China. So for the first 18 years of my life, I've never set foot outside my hometown at all. I knew nothing about the outside world, nothing. So as you can probably appreciate, that is that my curiosity was huge at the time. I had this huge curiosity instilled in my mind. I always wanted to know what is going on in the outside world. So I took the first opportunity to go as far as I can. I applied to the university about more than 1,000 kilometers away from my hometown. And from there on, I kept going farther and farther and farther away from my hometown. Now here I am in Canada. So when I was in the university, I took an English major. But even though I did English as my major, I often tell people that I learned most of my English from American TV shows, like Friends and Gossip Girls. At the time, I had very limited resources to learn English, but that's about what I have. And at that time, we didn't really have Google. We don't have that. In China, we don't have Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, no nothing. So it's very limited environment for anyone who has this level of curiosity as myself. So in 2009, I decided to pursue journalism. So I applied for a university in Beijing, and I got my first master's degree in international journalism. And then after that, I worked as a TV reporter at a TV station. It was fun while it lasted, and I did learn quite a bit, but I felt like it was difficult to really do that type of reporting that I like to do. So I decided to get my second master. I went to Missouri. So I got my second master in journalism, and it was really, really good experience. I think I really got to see the whole world. Not the whole world, I mean part of the world. And then I moved to DC for an internship, and after that, I got a full-time job in Utah. So I went to the west part of the country, and I worked as a daily news reporter at a daily newsroom until that newspaper was sold. Luckily, I was someone who was always prepared. So during that time, I was actually already preparing my immigration papers to Canada. After my work visa kind of lost my work visa because all the changing hands of the newspaper. That happened a lot in the States during that time. So I came to Canada 2 years ago, offer even before I immigrated. So I guess that just happened, and then I think that's literally one of the best decisions I ever made. It's wonderful. So I think the beginning part was kind of difficult because I literally knew nothing about Richmond Hill when I started. So I'm really grateful for how accepting and welcoming this community is. They're really patient with me. And when I reach out, I never really had someone said, "Who are you?" or "I'm not going to talk to you because you're just a new reporter in town," or anything like that. Never experienced anything like that. I felt like I immediately accepted as part of this community, which is just awesome. So I guess to sum up my personal experience, a lot of people would ask, what's your turning point in your career? What's a defining moment in your life? I don't think I have any of those moments. My experience or my life happened quite gradually, especially in my career. I started with my own curiosity and then developed an interest in gathering information, gathering facts, even though with a lot of limitation when I was in China. And then I had this kind of passion for telling stories with other people. So I think that's gradually how I got into journalism. So let's move on to the second part of my presentation today, which is why journalism. So you might not know that when I started doing news, I was actually doing international news. And at that time, I had this mission for myself. I was I'm going to tell the world what the real China looks like. I want to tell you what I want to do. I want to deliver to the world a real China, because there's so much misunderstanding and miscommunication between China and the rest of the world at the time. And I realized I couldn't do it. It's impossible with that kind of censorship, that kind of editorial control. I don't think I can do that. And I still, even now I'm in China, I still cannot do that. It didn't change, and it doesn't change. So coming from that background, I don't take freedom of the press and democracy lightly. It is with that believing here, I want to really truly do that type of reporting to truly help people, to inform people, and to let people know what they should know, but they probably don't, or they couldn't know otherwise. So what is really the sad part, though, is that too often I see people here take it for granted. Well, let me ask you this question. Do you know what the voter turnout rate was in the last municipal election? Does anyone know?
40%.
In the 20s?
40%.
In the 20s, somebody said 40%? So
27?
27, that's correct.
Okay.
27.
So is anyone surprised by that turnout rate? Or that something sounds about right? Yeah. So 27% of the eligible voters here in Richmond Hill cast their ballots for the 2018-2020 term of Richmond Hill Council, which is this council. So I don't know why people didn't come out to vote. Maybe they didn't care. Maybe didn't believe that their votes might count, or they didn't have enough information to base their votes on. Obviously, I couldn't help those people who just genuinely don't care about voting or the election. But if you feel like you don't have enough information to base your votes on, journalism is here to inform. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I wanted to be a journalist. So as an industry, you guys you can see, like, as a longtime reader of The Liberal or the YorkRegion.com, we have, as journalism, as an industry, we have changed. or evolved, or you can say declined over the past decades. And the form of the media has undergone dramatic changes. It went from on a sheet of paper, on radio, and TV, and on the internet. But journalism is not really defined by any of that, not by technology, not by journalism like myself, or the techniques that we use. The foremost value of news is always the same for centuries and centuries. It's always the same, is to empower the informed. And that's the definition according to my favorite textbook author, Tom Rosenstiel. So he's one of the author of my textbooks when I was in Missouri. So I think right now people seems to have a different kind of understanding for journalism because of social media, and we can be so easily distracted, and we have such a short attention span. Readers tend to seek the awe factor or the wow factor in news stories. I'm not saying that's wrong. I mean, a story can be interesting, right? Or it can be scary, or can be something can be something that is very entertaining. But at the end of the day, after reading a news story, you're supposed to take home some type of information that is useful, that is memorable, that might empower your decision in the future. So right now, my biggest struggle as a reporter, as this local reporter on a daily basis, is trying to balance what people want to know and what people need to know. What most people want to know is, oh, is that story interesting? Or someone just won $1 million bucks from the lotto, and or maybe there's even traffic accidents. I'm not saying those stories do not have value. It's just they are different type of stories. We still need stories. But the question is, how do we kind of retain people's attention on the really, really important stories, such as the stories that I've done, the campaign finance stories. Well, you guys probably, I guess probably most of you guys have read the story. However, do you guys know how many people actually read that story? Because we do have a lifetime, a real-time board showing how many people are clicking on that story, how much time they're spending on this story, and then you compare your story with other people's story, which may be talking about rescuing a cat or something like that. Then you know where people's attention lies in. That's not in this really serious, hard-hitting stories like the ones I did. The developer story, the developer's money story, I think only got maybe 2,000, 3,000 views. And how many people do we have here in Richmond Hill? Yeah, I know, it's surprising. And I was, to be honest with you, it can be a little bit frustrating for me, because it's not like a competition with my colleagues, right? I know I'm not competing with them. We're not competing on the clicks, but the clicks are important because the clicks can be translated into what? Registration on the website. And the registration is huge to us now, especially now, because we're in survival mode. The registration is something really good when you are talking to the potential advertisers. And that's where our livelihood relies on, unfortunately. So you can't say the clicks don't matter. They do matter. So this is like a vicious cycle for me every single day. Do I want to do that story? I spent 2 weeks on that story and I got 100 views on that. And do I spend 30 minutes on this story? I got 10,000 views. So it's an ongoing struggle. I don't know what the answer is. I think this struggle is going to be, these challenges we're going through right now is going to be here for a while until we really figure out a suitable mode, a suitable way for local journalism to survive. And up until then, I think we really truly rely on the concerned residents and interested readers, our loyal readers in this community, to really turn their attention to the local news. Because to be honest with you, I feel like a lot of stories I did here, you can't really read that stories in any other major news outlets, in the dailies. You just can't see them. If I didn't report on that, because sometimes I feel like maybe I shouldn't report on that because it's going to take me so much time. Because if I file this request to the city, and it's going to take them 2 days to get back to me, and then I might have further questions to ask them. They're going to be another 2 days. So by the end of the week, I finally got the information. I can start working on the story. It's gonna be the next week that I can publish the story. So 2 weeks has gone by. That's maybe just a 400-word story, but it's so important. Should I still pursue it? Should I do something that's so easy, like rewriting the press release? I don't know. That's the ongoing question. For now, I don't want to give up on the really truly important stories, but I just have to keep on going with that. But if the readers are truly cared about this community and truly care about the important stories, I'm not asking too much about, from you guys, just reading the stories, maybe sharing that, and then maybe reach out to with your concerns. I think the basic thing is that to be aware of what we are going on, where we're going through as local newspaper, and then just stand up for what you believe in and speak up when you see a problem. So I know that you can always reach out to me. That's really that's we can ask you to do for us. So knowing those challenges, I don't mean for you guys to be as frustrated as I am, because you don't have to, because figuring this out, I'm not working alone. We do have a team. I have amazing editors. They're all helping. We're all helping each other to figure this thing out. Right now in Richmond Hill, the only one thing I really wanted to point out is that this is a very engaged community. During this pandemic, gradually I feel like fewer people are reaching out to me. I don't know why, because I get a sense of some people are getting a little bit intimidated by the current council. I don't know what their behaviors are against toward these residents, but some of them are feeling a little bit fearful when they're talking to me about those related matters, and a lot of time they're asking to be anonymous. They're asking to be interviewed on the background. That is really difficult for me to do, because as a reporter, we generally, as a rule in newsroom, we don't generally take anonymous sources unless there's a compelling reason for you not to do it. For example, if you say this, like we can take example from my recent story. Do you guys remember the COVID-19 outbreak at hometown Richmond Hill?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did this analysis piece with Kim Zarzor, my colleague, and it's a pretty long piece. We talk about how long did it take for people to actually know what was going on there, because the outbreak happened quite early last month, but people still going into the store without a mask, and then nobody told them there's actually an outbreak among the employees. So I weighted the story on that, and it was again, that story is only 2,000 clicks. 2,000 clicks, yeah. And guess how long it took us to do? It's probably 2 weeks and a half. It took us 2 weeks and a half because we have so many sources come reach out to us, and then I dealt with 4 or 3 anonymous sources, and that's really difficult because I have to verify what they said is true. But then because they are not really revealing their identities, that's really difficult to do. And then you have to prove that to your editors so that they can include that part of information from anonymous source. So that took me such a long time. But the reason why we use that anonymous source is because that source has family member who works in Home Depot. So they have a valid, compelling reason to not identify themselves, because that family member might lose his job, right? So that's a compelling reason. Or if you feel like your life is at risk or something like that, that could be a compelling reason, but not something like, I just don't want my face to be in the paper. I just don't want my full name in the paper. And that happens to me so many times. So many times. And I have to drop a story. I have to drop so many stories just because of that. And sometimes that happened after I've done the interview. I've written the story and I got an email. Hey, Sheila, do you mind taking my name out of the article? I was like, but how can I publish the article without you? You are my source. So that's the thing. So a lot of issues that we have to deal with on a daily basis. But those, I feel like those are still minor issues. The big picture right now is that this community is highly engaged. and they're interested in the stories that are important to them, even though sometimes maybe I do believe that sometimes maybe they're not reading the story, maybe not reading the full story, but even when they're kind of looking at the headlines, they still get some idea of what was going on. Even that, I mean, I feel okay about that. At least you get a little bit of information from me. That's better than nothing. So I will keep doing what I'm doing. And I hope that doesn't sound like I'm trying to vent or complain about my job, because it's probably taking a bad turn into that direction, because I haven't really talked to my colleagues and in person for a while, because usually we vent to each other in the office setting, but now apparently we cannot do that, so we're just kind of holding on to our own. We have to internalize all the complaints or the issues that we are going through alone in our home. So I think all in all, it's good, and we're moving forward. And I feel like if there are more people paying attention to us, more people trusting us, giving us information, giving us the faith, have faith in us that we can produce a good, legitimate story with your information, with your name, and with your face in it, then I think we should be good. So I think that's my main message. Just reach out to me whenever you want. Oh, you know what? Sometimes I got some people reach out to me. They're not talking about stories. They're not giving me tips or stories. They're basically chatting with me. I really enjoyed that. I might not always have the time to respond to their emails, but I do read all the emails all the time. Sometimes they're like, I remember there's a resident is actually from Bonn. He just sent me an email saying that he read my map. I created this tracking map. If you haven't seen that, you can look for that on our website. It's a tracking map for coronavirus, and it breaks down the case count by municipality. So this person lives in Bonn, and he's an elderly person. After reading the map, and he's really, really concerned, and he's really scared. That's really the only thing he said to me. He didn't say he wants to pursue a story. He didn't say that he wants to talk to me or anything. He just wants to have someone to listen to him when he has his concern. Maybe he doesn't have anyone to talk to, maybe. But he emailed me with his concern and his fear. He said he's been staying in his little apartment for a really long time by himself. He's too afraid to step outside. After reading the map, he knows that Bonn has been the hotspot of coronavirus at the time. So, and I responded to him. I gave him some information, gave him some direction. Maybe there's some help you can seek. So this process doesn't amount to a story or anything, but I believe it's a community connection, a process of community connection, and I definitely appreciate that. Don't feel that you have to give me a story or give me a tip or anything like that. You can complain about life. You can just connect with me, chat with me. And at this time, email would be the best way to reach me, because we're not in the office anymore. I know some of you guys like calling me in the office, but the landline is not working now because we're so far away from the office. But you can always maybe text me or email me. If you have any concerns, if you have anything you want to talk to, but you don't want to talk to maybe other people, you can trust me. If you want to, if you say this is confidential between you and me, and then that's between you and me. Yeah, I guess that's the end of my presentation. Do you guys have questions for me? Yes? Peter? Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, Sheila, first, my hat is off to you. I've got a lot of admiration for what you do, and you can put me on record for this. I was pleased to hear you say that you're taking the path of informing and empowering. And that to me is the high road, unlike much of our media, which is really generating fear and control. So please keep it up. I have a question for you, and it's because some newspapers I have noticed in the past have supported individual political candidates or parties. Would the Liberal be open to considering a candidate for council if a good case could be made for supporting them?
I don't think that had happened with the Liberal newspaper in the past. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen in the future. I think for the longest time, this paper as far as I know, this has been neutral, not taking any political side, so that everyone in the community can get the balanced and objective amount of information from the same newspaper. So otherwise, we're turning away some of our readers. So these people might be deprived of some critical information because they don't believe or they don't fall into the same partisan line. So I think I'm not sure that could be an editor's decision, but I really can say that I don't think that would happen in the future with the liberal newspaper.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else for a question? Okay, Henry, would you like your question?
Sheila, thank you very much for that. I'm actually one of the people that are registered with yourcreation.com.
Thank you.
A couple of questions. One is, how many people do you have registered online to read the paper on yourcreation.com? And the second one is, because of the possible sale of the Toronto Star, how does that affect Metro and the Richmond Hill Liberal paper? Thank you.
So our registration, the number is, we're updating that on an ongoing basis. It's changing every single day. So I don't really have the firm number to share with you. And also I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share that number to the public, because that's more like on the other side of the company. So, but I can make sure, I just want to be careful. I can check with my social media editor to see if he said that's okay to share. Maybe I can send an email to you guys. But it's growing every single day. Yeah.
Because you said only 2,000 people.
Yeah, the 2,000 people read my story. So that's the clicks. The other thing is you said about the sale of the Toronto Star Corporation. So that's I don't know whether that's final yet, to be honest with you, because after we announced the new owner, we got a new unsolicited buyer, and they're offering more money to buy the corporation. So I'm not sure what they can do with that. So it's possible that this sale is not final yet. It could still switch to another hand, but we're not sure. It's still in the process. So again, this has never happened. But first, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I hope it's not going to impact us too much. We're the community brands. When these two owners, the current two new owners, took over the newspaper, they said, we're going to continue to do what we are doing at a community level. So I assume that's what we're gonna do until there's more information on the new buyers. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Anyone else have a question?
Carol.
Carol, then Nadia. Carol.
Okay, thank you, Sheila, for the sharing. I really touched. I'm your subscriber. I really enjoy Liberal, but I just curious, like how many reporters available at Liberal, including you? How many? Do you have a designated duty for reporting?
Okay, Carol, that's a very good question. So one, for Richmond Hill, the Liberal newspaper, I'm the only designated reporter for this committee. Yes. Yeah, I know.
You're too tough.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, and we've lost many people over the past couple of years. Actually, we just laid off one photographer. Do you guys know Susie?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's no longer with us full time.
Kim.
Yeah, Kim is a reporter, and Kim is right now, she's on the investigative analysis team and also on the regional side of things. So she was the reporter for the Liberal, and then she kind of transitioned out of the municipal beat. That's when I arrived here and I took over the Liberal. So it's really tough in the newsroom.
I love your W words, the why and how and what. I really want to know what is happening at school board. But since May, I didn't see any document reporting any changes, anything about it. Even the big issue happening is the replacement for the 124 trustee in Richmond Hill. It's nothing reporting about it. I was surprised. Now it's this is a by-election. I hope, it's a strategy how to capture this news, because I want to promote more people aware of this and wisely use this process. Because how much? It's $320 for this process.
Yeah.
It's a very, very expensive, right?
Yes.
So how to capture the news?
We are actually, go ahead.
Sorry, I hope you have a strategy how to motivate people aware of this and then vote for the appropriate person. This process is very important because right now it's only
Carol.
Turn trustee. Yes.
Let's hear Sheila's response. I'm very interested in what she has to say here. So.
Yeah, so we are well aware of the by-election. That topic has come up in our Zoom meetings multiple times, and we do have a dedicated education reporter whose name is Dina. She's been covering education and the school board for the past a year and a half now. And the thing is, same with me, everybody has so much to do. I have Richmond Hill and I have data portion. I have the data analysis part of the job to do. And for her, she has Vaughan, the whole municipality, Vaughan, and then education. So she has 2 beats. And as you know, Vaughan is a huge beat. It's probably, you can even say that's bigger than Richmond Hill, well, given the COVID-19 situation, right? So she's been really, really busy. But this has been on her radar. Why I knew? Because we have to share what we're doing right now. We're doing this for this week in an email every single day. That has been on her radar. But she might be pairing up with other colleagues in the newsroom to work on this story, but it's definitely going to be done. But if, Carol, if you have anything you'd like to share with us, you feel like we might not know at this moment, feel free to reach out to the newsroom. You can still, even though this is not my beat, you can still email me. It's gonna be very easy for me to just forward that information to her, right? So you can use me as a point of contact, and I can gather that information for her. If you do feel like there are people who want to be interviewed, if you feel like maybe an expert or someone who has experience or some inside knowledge, feel free to send their contact info to us. Then we can maybe interview them to be included in that upcoming article, if that helps.
Very good, very good. Nadia, you had a question.
Yes, I do. First, I want to thank because she's my source of information, and I collect all her articles, everything. And I speak with her maybe daily in my mind, because I'm trying to find a solution to my problems, and no idea how to do it. Then I didn't know about this. As I said, I collect all her articles, and I'm the one which takes the Liberal and look to every single week. And I subscribe. I am in this on region, York region site. I subscribed, but usually I look only on coronavirus information, and I see that officially it doesn't look like I'm interested in your articles. You want me to press a button. What button do I have to press to know that it's only article I read are yours? I don't know how to help for this. I don't know, bosses or whatever.
Sheila, can you answer that? Sheila, can you tell her what she needs, and probably the rest of us needs to do in order for it to show up that we have actually read your article?
Yeah, I think as long as you click into the article, you're spending some time reading the article, that should be reflected into our data system. So you really don't have to do anything, just the fact you read it. So yeah.
Very good.
Okay, yeah. Because I have the article. I have the article always. I told you I collect them. I have.
Thank you so much.
But I have to press on the button to show that.
Yeah, just click on the link, and that's all you have to do, Nadia. it really is simple. So thank you.
But you know what? If you can share that, or tweet it out, or put it on Facebook, that could help as well.
Yes.
But the bottom line is to just read a story. But of course, I don't want to force anybody to read a story you're not interested in. If you don't feel like you want to read that story, don't feel like you're reading it for me, please don't do that.
I don't know. I think you've compelled us to do. You've got our sympathy. And, we should. The importance of journalism. I think you've stressed that as well, and I think that's an important lesson that I think we knew but didn't really think about. So I think I'm looking at the comments here in the chat line, and it's been really positive. I think you've added a lot to what we're doing. And please, everyone, click on it, share it, email to people. We have to pay attention. You did a great job, Sheila, at really stressing what journalism is all about. That really is, it's empowerment. It's not just and oohs. It's this very important thing. So I certainly enjoyed your presentation. So I think if we can all give her a clap here. And
Oh, thank you.
this was
Thank you so much.
It was thank you again for your time. Are there any last questions from anybody else? No? Okay. Okay, again, thank you, Sheila. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time this morning and tuning in. I'm going to try to figure out how to record. I'm going to have to go down here and stop recording.